It's my pleasure to talk to you today about yet another occupational hazard that we have put on the back burner a bit with recent concerns about the dreaded RSI that Jose may censor me for mentioning, along with how to go online, maintain decent working conditions, and not lose either our physical or mental health in the process. Another key concern for interpreters that's hit the headlines in recent months is, of course, the issue of acoustic shock, which has highlighted the need to take care of one of the key tools of our trade, namely our hearing, which, of course, is a prerequisite to understanding. However, in the current circumstances, for which no further contextualization is required, our use of digital devices has not so much increased as exponentially exploded, and many of us may be feeling the pinch in our eyes. Even before lockdown, it was the case that nearly 70% of American adults experienced some form of digital eye strain as a result of prolonged use of electronic devices. Just to flesh out the impression that we probably all have of intense levels of screen time over the past few months, research has shown that the 14th to the 21st of March this year constituted a bumper week for the downloading of video conferencing apps. And this can give us an idea of the increase in time spent in front of the screen from then on. During that record week of downloads, Zoom was downloaded 14 times more than the weekly average during the fourth quarter of 2019 in the US. It was also downloaded more than 20 times the fourth quarter's weekly averages in the UK, 22 times more in France, 17 times more in Germany, 27 times more in Spain, and a whopping 50 times more in Italy. And these stats are for the general public. For translators, working with multiple screens has long been the norm. Interpreters working on site are also more than used to switching between looking at the speaker, the PowerPoint, our own computer, tablet, or phone screen in the booth, as well as any monitors that we may have been provided with if the stage or the lectern is a long way away. Today's hybrid working conditions mean that we're now juggling with a variety of screens in our home office, if only to participate this week in WISE. And I'm speaking here as a Device 2 challenged participant, with apologies to our hosts for the hassle caused yesterday. So I'd like to talk a little bit today about looking after our eyes. Now, recent research sponsored by an outfit called the Vision Council has shown that 59% of people who routinely use computers and digital devices experience symptoms of digital eye strain, also known as computer vision syndrome. Symptoms of which include eye fatigue and discomfort, dry eyes, headaches, blurred vision, neck and shoulder pain, eye twitching, and red eyes. So I'd like to share with you some easy steps, there may be as many as 10, depending on how we go for time, that you can take to reduce your risk of eye strain and other common symptoms of CVS. First, and most importantly, get a comprehensive eye test every year. This is the single most important thing you can do to prevent or treat computer vision problems. During the test, make sure that you tell your ophthalmologist how often you use a computer and digital devices at work and at home. Measure how far your eyes are from your screen when you sit at your computer, and bring this measurement to the test with you so your ophthalmologist can test your eyes at that specific working distance. Then, secondly, use proper lighting. Eye strain is often caused by excessively bright light, either from outdoor sunlight coming in through a window or from harsh interior lighting. Now, I know most of you have probably fiddled around with the lighting, particularly in our new virtual offices or home offices, but it's important to, for example, avoid working under overhead fluorescent lights if possible. I'm now going to look at factor 3, which concerns glare. Now, the glare that bounces from light reflecting off walls and finished surfaces, as well as reflections on your computer screen, are also a cause of eye strain. You might consider installing an anti-glare screen on your display, and if possible, paint those bright white walls a slightly darker color with a matte finish. If you wear glasses, as I do, make sure that you buy lenses with anti-reflective coating. This reduces glare by minimizing the amount of light reflected off the front and the back surfaces of your eyeglass lenses. Now, your display, your screen. Back in the day, monitors used to use cathode ray tube or CRT technology, and some of you may remember or will have seen on old movies the kind of flickering quality on these screens. We don't get that anymore, thanks to what is known as light emitting diode screens, otherwise known as LED, for those of you who waited for it and kept a sufficient décalage. When you're choosing a new flat panel display, a screen, make sure that you choose one with the highest possible resolution. Resolution is related to the dot pitch of the display. Generally, displays with a lower dot pitch have sharper images. Choose one that has a dot pitch of 0.28 millimeters or smaller. Also, choose a relatively large screen for a desktop computer, one that has a diagonal screen size of at least 19 inches. Time to change over interpreters. We're a little bit over halfway through. So, number 5, make sure that you adjust your computer screen settings. Now, this is not just in terms of brightness, which is important, and also obviously text size and contrast, which are also important, but I'm sure you're all on those cases already. It's also important to pay attention to what is known as color temperature. Now, this is a technical term used to describe the spectrum of visible light emitted by a color screen. Blue light is short wavelength visible light that is associated with more eye strain than longer wavelength hues such as orange and red. So reducing the color temperature of your screen lowers the amount of blue light emitted by it and makes long-term viewing more comfortable. Now, here's something we can all do. We just have to be aware of it. We need to blink more often and we need to blink better. It's very important, obviously, because it moistens your eyes and thereby prevents dryness and irritation. It turns out that when we stare at a screen, we tend to blink less frequently, actually about 1/3 as often as we would do normally. And tears that coat the eye, not necessarily because you're crying, tears as in the moisture produced in your eye, they evaporate more rapidly during long, non-blinking phases, and this can lead to dry eyes. The air is very often in office environments very dry as well. Now, it's important if you're going to buy some kind of product to help with dry eyes, it's important not to confuse lubricating eye drops with the type of drops that are sold to eliminate that slightly hungover look of red eyes. This latter type of product can make your eyes look better because they contain ingredients that reduce the size of blood vessels on the surface of your eyes in order to whiten them. But they're not necessarily formulated to reduce dryness and irritation. Now, to reduce the risk of dry eyes during computer use, try this exercise. Every 20 minutes, blink 10 times, but not in the sort of normal blink, 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 really quickly. The way we need to blink is to close our eyes very slowly, as if we were just succumbing to sleep. Now, if you can do that 10 times every 20 minutes, you are guaranteed, although I have no guarantee to hand and I'm not planning to offer any compensation if it doesn't work, to improve your overall eye health. Exercising your eyes is also important, as I'm sure you're all aware. If you spend too long staring at the screen for at the same distance, that is going to give you eye problems. So every now and then we have to look up and focus on something that's quite a long way away, and then maybe something that's quite close up. And this helps the eye muscles to keep nice and supple. Very little point doing lots of yoga and Pilates for the rest of your body if then your eyes lock up, which they do sometimes, or they can do. So taking frequent breaks is also important. Obviously, if you actually remove yourself from the physical position in front of the screen, you're probably going to stop looking at it. Take advantage of these breaks to stand up, move around, stretch your arms, legs, back, neck and shoulder to reduce the tension and the muscle fatigue. Obviously, I would advocate doing this to music, but that's just up to personal taste. We need to modify our workstation. Now, workstations have changed considerably over the last little while. And we should be adapting for ourselves as interpreters the age-old advice of when you are working with a paper document and a screen, lining one up against or next to the other so that they're at the same distance, and it's easier on our eyes to flick between 1 and 2. Well, I would certainly bet at least a Mars bar on the fact that probably most of you are looking at least 2 different screens while interpreting, or at least while interpreting and then giving feedback, as we are working here at WISE. And so actually we need to rethink our workstation to try to make sure that the different screens are aligned. This will help reduce the strain on our eyes. Now, lastly, I found this interesting piece of advice that I had never heard of before, and I shall be following up. And this is consider using computer glasses. Now, I don't know if any of you has a special pair of glasses that you use when looking at a computer screen, but according to some opticians that I will not promote by mentioning their names here, the greatest comfort at your computer in terms of your eye health can benefit from having your ophthalmologist modify your eyeglasses prescription to create customized computer glasses. This is apparently especially the case if you normally wear contact lenses, which are very prone to becoming dry and uncomfortable during extended periods of screen time. Computer glasses are also a good choice if you wear bifocals or progressive lenses, because these lenses are generally not optimal for the distance between you and your computer screens. You may also want to consider photochromic lenses or lightly tinted lenses. Sounds a bit like the 70s to me, for computer eyewear to reduce your exposure to potentially harmful blue light emitted by digital devices. Now, as in all cases, obviously, what we need to do is go and talk to our ophthalmologists, our resident experts on the subject, to decide which of these tips might work for us. Happy viewing and happy listening. Thank you.